Holy crap! The man, the myth, the legend. You're muted, sir, right now. But
that good?
That is good. So, this whole show is about to change, and I'll let Bear hang out like right there if he wants. Let me get this guy's information out in the chat here, and oh crap, the stories are about to start. By the way, oops, that isn't what I wanted right there. I just went to his Amazon link. Stop it. Uh-oh.
Hey, so I realize your gentleman friend is here that you've been waiting for to come on. I'll bounce out.
Sounds like we're dating, man. What the hell?
Well, listen, you're in the Air Force. Anything's possible.
No.
The Canadians taking shots.
Well, at least you didn't say chair force.
No, well, I've got some respect. If I had to join an American thing, and if I had been an American, I would have picked the same one you guys did. Come on. I'm not. You want me to carry this gun through the woods and get shot at? Fuck that.
Right.
Let me refuel.
I just screwed up my browser here. Can you put the link into the YouTube chat as a comment somewhere? Because I completely just effed up my browser for your game. So that people for the Amazon link to your game. Because now I have two browser tabs open, but they're not under tabs. It's like a split screen thing, and I don't know how to end this.
I'm gonna put it in the private chat for you. You need my.
Oh no, I can grab it from there. It's just I was hoping you could actually put it in the comments. Will I?
I can't put it in the comments. I'm not. I don't think I'm allowed to post links. Am I? Let's find out. And then Max vanished. Well, hello, James. How are you, sir? Are you good?
I'm good. And you are.
I'm Bear. I'm a Canadian, and I'm the most vulgar Canadian you'll ever meet. So apparently, that's something for Americans.
I got something for you now.
What you got for me?
I think I can keep up with you.
Sounds good to me, man. Sounds groovy. We'll wait for Max to get back. Noru, can you run over and just plug him back in or adjust his batteries or something? I don't know what happened to Max. He just vanished. So you were in the force with Max, is that correct?
Pro streamer,
yes,
folks.
I definitely was. Definitely was, man. Look here, I met John in my second tour in Korea.
Okay.
And I walked in the building, and they said, your office is back there. And there was John P. Slow sitting at my desk with his feet up. And he said, oh, you're the new NCIC? Well, let me tell you how things are going to go.
By the way, I was in E3 for the people in the Air Force or the military. I was in E3 as A1C and in a lot of trouble long before I met him. And so I'm just, yep. It's like, I don't do this. I don't do that.
Yeah. He proceeded to tell me everything he wasn't going to do and what he would do and what I was going to do. And I stood there and I looked at him and I said, man, this guy here, man. And I let him do his spiel. And he went on and on and on. I said, you finished? He said, yeah, I guess so. And then I proceeded to cuss him out and let him know. I don't know if I can say what I said on this podcast, but
as long as it's not racial, yeah, you pretty much can.
Yeah, and I told him he didn't get his ass out of my chair. And that's when we became very good friends from then on.
Remember this picture?
This guy here, man, he is crazy. You know, and we became friends from there.
So
I forgot. He said, "Oh well, it was worth a shot." I'm like, "That."
Well, the guy you replaced was an alcoholic, and he was never there. I figured, whatever.
All right, listen, I'm gonna bow out. Let you guys do your thing. It was very nice meeting you, James. Take care, and thank you for your service. And I guess happy Veterans Day.
Yeah, happy Veterans Day. But it was my pleasure. My pleasure, man.
Take care,
I met very good people, very good friends, like John. We've been friends ever since, and we still keep in contact. And that's a rarity. That's a rarity that you meet people that you want to stay in contact with. So it was a blessing to me to be in the service and to serve with John too.
I don't know if John's a blessing, but John, I'll try and get back to see you later tonight. Bye, guys. Take care.
Okay.
So no, this is that is a great way to start this. First of all, thank you very much for being here. I've honestly been looking forward to this for a while, because behind the scenes on our members only shows, I've actually talked about some of my antics in the Air Force, and you know how people are like, okay, sure, whatever, you said this, but what really happened was probably something tempered down.
Oh,
well, now
no.
we get to have the fun. And this is what I want folks to know out there. We'll go back in time a little bit more, like especially like how he first met me.
Yeah.
But I have to say this for everybody out there. This is the guy. Like my real dad died in 2013. My stepdad died this last year. Don't go anywhere, man, because that's my third father. And I know that might sound weird, but the way that James saved my Air Force career, he really did, because of the shenanigans that I did and the idiocy that I did. I would have kicked me out. Let's just put it that way. When I left Kunsan and went to Andrews, I talked to my first supervisor, or one of my supervisors from my first base, from Kirtland, and I asked her, I said, how the hell did you ever let me act like that? Because within a year's time, by the way, he wasn't even there right away. It was like only 9 months of time. This dude turned me around, straightened me out, etc. And she's like, well, we saw something in you. You just had to get away from this environment. I'm like, I'm glad you saw it, because I didn't. But the reason I turned around is one particular incident. I know you know it, but for the folks out there, this one particular incident was the literal light switch that went blink, and the light bulbs finally went on in here. And that was, the Chief Terry incident.
Yeah.
And so here we go. Let me paint the picture for the folks out there, and by all means jump in where I get it wrong or you have more exposition on there. So we were tasked with creating this wolf head for the water tower in Kunsan, Korea. And now, of course, you, by all means, in a little bit, get into how that wasn't even our job and so forth, but they made it our job. Well, I go into James' office. I go into his office and I hear him. He's on the phone, yada, yada, yada. And I'm thinking like, And he's like, yes, chief, whatever, chief, all this nonsense. He gets off the phone and he's all frustrated. You should have seen him back then. He'd just smoke and he had this head shake. God damn it, Shlomo. But he's on the phone, and I also like, we got to do the wolf head. And I lost my, I think as he said, my ever-loving mind. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? You got to tell him. You are going to be deployed out to EEO, what is that? Exercise Evaluation Team, EET. I'm going to be on disaster preparedness. Nobody's going to be here. And I'm thinking in my head, nobody is this ridiculous in an organization like the Air Force. It's not even possible in my brain at that point. Remember, I'm 19, I'm 20. It's not possible to be that ridiculous in the Air Force, okay? And so I literally into his face, I said, you were just being a kiss ass. Just fucking tell them that it can't be done, blah, blah, blah. And he's trying to make the excuses. I'm not listening. Go ahead, sorry.
First of all, John had no idea of what I went through being in charge of the graphics section. Not only did I have to be in charge of the graphics section, I had to be in charge of the photo lab, the VI library, and pretty much even my supervisor.
Yep.
Even my senior master sergeant, she really just dumped everything on me. And so John, he just couldn't understand why you can't tell these people no. It's like, just stand up, be a man, and to myself, I'm like, this fella, he has no idea whatsoever. But he got a rude awakening when my sister passed. I had to leave on emergency leave, and I put John in charge, which meant he was going to have to do all that stuff I did. And when I came back, John grabbed me and hugged me. It's like, oh, I'll never say anything bad about you again. It's like, I'm so glad you were playing. This is just the worst shit I've ever been through in my life.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, John. I said, now you see, and that's what it takes sometimes. And John did an excellent job while I was gone. Everybody just commended him. He was, everything that I expected he would be, but he never had the opportunity or the responsibility. And once he got it, man, and he was in that position, he understood everything. And back to the chief and the wolf head,
Oh,
I
Jesus.
told John, I said, okay. And I said, I'm going to let you take in all the work requests. That was my job. And you tell this chief no. And so
Well,
John,
it's funny that day, that same day is either that day or the next day. Remember the black chief, the one that ended up getting test compromised nonsense?
right.
He was a really, really nice guy. I actually liked him. Well, he came in with 2 other people, a little unusual, but he came in with 2 other people. I didn't know at the time one of them was Chief Terry. Chief Terry was the guy that he was talking to. He was what they call command chief, no, senior enlisted advisor back then they called it.
Right.
And so he's like the top E9, the top chief master sergeant on the base, and he comes in. So I'm doing this certificate stuff with the other chief that I can't remember his name, and Chief Terry goes, "We didn't ask for the full tour." I didn't know who this guy was, and so I look at him and I see Terry on his name. I was like, "Oh, this is that guy." This was literally the moment that the light switch came on, because Sergeant James comes behind me, and he looks at me and says, "Chief Terry, I know we talked on the phone, but I just want to bring it up one more time since we're all here face to face. Like, my airman is going to be a DPST. I am not going to be here because of EET." And Chief didn't even let him finish. He slammed his hand on the table and said, "There's 26 goddamn hours in the day. You find the other 2. And I don't fully remember if Sergeant James grabbed my neck, if he grabbed my shirt or my arm, but he grabbed something to pull me back because I was about to launch myself over that stupid table. And I think he recognized that, kind of pulled me away. And he's like, "Yes, Chief, whatever." Right there, though, I'm serious. I turned around, I stormed away, and I'm just like, I can't believe it. He did shattered everything I thought about a large organization, but this is what really sold it for me, and why I listened to him for the most part. We still had our 2-seater jet shootouts and so forth, but was the fact that he put his neck out for me, and it was that step. That's nobody had ever done that for me. It might sound simple, but when you're telling an E9 that you basically got your shit rattled a little bit on the phone, and and put your neck out for me like that again, I told myself that when I'm a supervisor, that's going to be the same thing I do. If I can't teach you one way, I will teach you this way, but know that there could be consequences if I teach you this way, because I'm not going to get in trouble if you don't get in trouble also, But,
yeah, which I didn't mind, because I had the same experiences that John had. I could not understand why these supervisors wouldn't stand up. And when I got in the position, I learned to play the game. And that's what I always tell John. It's like, if you don't know how to play the game, you can't win, And even though that chief told us there was 26 hours in the day, and we find the other 2, it was a thing of, okay, fine. And it didn't get done. And guess what? It was fine. But if he had John had hit that chief or said the wrong thing, he would have ruined his career and probably mine too. But it's like, hey, he didn't accomplish anything with his stupidity. And so that John, he picked up on all that stuff. And that's what I wanted to show him. It's like, hey, man, you can't let these guys, what their words say, ruin your life, pretty much. And that's anybody in life. It doesn't matter, military or civilian life or whatever. It's like, you have to control yourself and learn how to, get past all those obstacles. And John did a great job at that.
Well, so we did end up finally finishing the wolf head. I don't remember how much later it was, but we did finally finish. Would you want to tell everybody what happened to that wolf head? Yeah,
it was a giant plexiglass wolf head that they just had to have on the tower. We were the wolf pack, and I had drawn this Mach 2 wolf. It was a stylized wolf head, and everybody just wanted this wolf head. I was so sick of the wolf head. It's like, gosh, I hate this wolf head. And so then they did the ultimate thing and made us make a big, giant plexiglass wolf head that they were going to put on the control tower. So me and John, we painted that thing, and we stayed over in the night working on that thing. And they got it, and they took it to the tower and put it up on the tower, and Next thing we know, the thing come flying off there and cut a van in half. And it's like, I'm like, oh my God, the wolf head from hell, you know? It's like, and do you believe they wanted another wolf head after all that damage that it did? You know, it could have cut one of those aircraft in half, $1 billion aircraft, but they want another wolf head. I'm like, oh my God, it's like, I'm in an organization full of psycho, you know? And once again, John's like, Sergeant Chambers, I never would have believed it unless I was here. It's like, yep, this is what you got to deal with.
So one of the, actually, I don't talk about this much anymore, but for about 10 years after it happened, I talk about this other incident. You remember when everything was good and I begged you, don't ever put me in for Airman of the Quarter. For the love of God, don't do that. But no, and you were cool. You actually, you know, at that time, looking back on it, I probably should have been, but I'm happy you didn't. But you did put me in for other stuff. And remember when I got Wolfpack Warrior?
Yeah.
And everybody was all happy about that. Now, that was just a monthly thing, and I was in the paper, but I was supposed to get an incentive flight for that. Do you remember why I didn't get that incentive flight?
Tom Cruise took your flight.
There you go, folks. Everybody out there who didn't believe the fact that Tom Cruise stole my incentive flight.
I was like, really, Don? Yeah, that guy came in. He took my incentive flight. I said, oh my gosh! Of all the people, and I'm sure John really doesn't like Tom Cruise to this day.
They used to give me Tom Cruise movies as jokes on DVD and so forth because but you know, to be honest, it's not Tom Cruise I hated for that. It was whoever his publicist was or whatever that convinced him to take that from me, and then the lie after. Oh, don't worry, we'll get you on the next one. We'll get you on the next one. We'll get you. Oh, I PCS'd out. Yeah.
Yeah, never happened. Never happened, man. But I was very happy about being a part of John's telecommunications adventure or career, should I say career. That was another thing that we weren't supposed to do. And John gave me all this grief. Sorry, Chambers, once again, we're doing something that we're not supposed to do. And you didn't stand up and do it. I'm like, okay, John, let me explain it to you. It's like, hey, they're making me be responsible for all the audio visual stuff. So I have to go and learn how to do this thing. And as John knows, I am not technically inclined. I had the fear of getting on this podcast. It's like, I've been looking at this thing since 9:00 and I finally got the nerve to come on here. But now that I'm on here, it's okay. But anyway, so I said, John, we have to do it because there's nobody else to do it. And they're going to make me do it. So we might as well, just have fun with it. And so anyway, I learned it and then I taught it to John and John was like, hey, this is not so bad.
At first I was like, remember, I will never do this. I will never do this again in my life. Never. And like, I was adamant. I was like, I can't wait to get out of here, take this VTC crap and throw it away, blah, blah. And guess what my career became after so I got out of the Air Force. So I couldn't get graphics jobs outside the Air Force because of, Photoshop and so forth. I got into IT and all of a sudden, guess what I am in IT? Even to this day, what do? I'm an infrastructure expert for video conferencing. I build global communication, but for years, I'd shoot him like a Christmas message or something. I'd say hello or whatever happened to be. And he'd be like, how's that VTC training?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you know what? I deserve that. I deserve it.
Yeah. But that's where the money was. And we had no idea, It's like, hey, graphics, I mean, it's okay, but, hey, video teleconferencing, man, that's the thing, That was the wave of the future and had no clue. But
and now it's being phased out with things like Zoom and so forth, like what we're doing now. And unfortunately, the way the Air Force handles it, I'm kind of, slowly being worked out of a job, but yeah.
No, you'll never be out of a job, John, because you'll adapt, and go with the next thing. And that's what it's about. You always had that intelligence and everything to where you could pick up on stuff and move on. Me, I was stubborn. I was old. I was an artist, you know, and
a real artist.
Yeah, and I had no use for computers or any other that other stuff. But you know, hey, you're technically inclined, and so hey, man, that's your blessing.
So, well, that's kind of how the good teamwork developed between us in Korea. It's like if it had to be drawn, you did it. If it had to be on the computer, I did it. So, I mean, that worked out.
Excellent. Yeah,
I'd like to talk about, if you're okay with that, I'd like to talk about some of the craziness we worked, because I don't think people can, without living it, let's be honest, just like your stories out there, folks, and so forth, I'm not living your life, and I will never know the full extent of what you go through because of that. But the characters we worked with in Korea, that just it's a comedy show. Sergeant Powers.
Yeah. It's like Sergeant Powers, man. You know, Hanna-Barbera come to life. You know, it's like Looney Tunes on steroids, man. It's like unbelievable stuff. I mean, this lady was supposed to be our leader. You know, she was the OL chief, Operation Location chief, and she was supposed to be in charge of all the different facilities. You know, we had the photo lab, the VI library, and graphics. First of all, I kept seeing white dust. And then I'm like, what is all this white dust everywhere? And
hold on just one second, because the time that it really got you was when she was up moving the you guys were moving the you're in the closet for was the photo lab or whatever. Oh,
yeah.
No, the supply closet, and she was moving the ceiling tiles.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, you got some ceiling tile on you. And then you touched it.
Yeah. And Josh went, oh, don't touch that. That's dandruff. I'm like, oh shit. Really? Oh my God. It's everywhere. and I'm like, oh my God. Who has dandruff like that? I mean, it's like
clumps.
I mean, oh gosh. I mean, hey, everybody gets a little dandruff. I've had dandruff, but this is like,
it's like
it snowed or something. I mean, it's like it was just falling like snow. I thought the ceiling tile stuff was coming down, but it was her dandruff. I'm like, Jesus Christ, what is good? What the? I was like, don't touch it. It's dandruff.
He's holding his hand out like this. He's holding his hand out like this. Slow. I gotta go wash my hand. I'm like, I know you do. Get away from me.
Oh my gosh, man.
That was quite something. Quite something.
And then she got removed out of that position because she was totally inept, and so you ended up having to take over. And then following that, we had Sergeant Taylor, the bringer of breath and destruction. Oh, did he freeze? Oh, he might have froze. There we go. You're back now. Did you hear about so next would be Sergeant Taylor.
Yeah, but no, I'm not like.
Yep.
I'm not finished with her, man. This was unbelievable too. So I told them, it's like, hey, this lady is pissing everybody off. The airmen are coming to me. They're complaining. So my supervisor tells me, well, you're going to have to train her. Train her? She outranks me. It's like, no, but you're going to have to train her. I said, okay. So I'm going to show you how to do a counseling. So I said, I'm going to go and get the airmen that you're having a problem with. And, you're going to, first start out with some encouraging words. And then what you're supposed to do is tell him what his problem is and how to fix it. So that was, what was his name, John? The little guy, the tall, skinny guy.
McCarrison. Aaron McCarrison, come in. And he comes in and he reports, Aaron McCarrison reports, you motherfucker, you just said, you're just a shithead. I'm like, oh my God, what is wrong with you? I said, Aaron McCarrison, please leave out. I'm like, what is wrong with you? You call that counseling? And so I went and told my supervisor, and she's like, okay, well, we're going to remove her out of the position and put you in there. I said, so I got to do her job, my job, and deal with me.
yeah, deal with John P. Slow. Man, God. And so I'm like, man, this don't seem right. And so I go and they removed her. And I'm like, what do you have her doing? Oh, well, she goes from squadron to squadron and she fixes the bulletin board. I said, a bulletin board monitor? I said, are you kidding me? I said, I want that job. How about you bring her back, give me the bulletin board monitor job? I said, I can do that. It's like, but this person is getting paid the same amount of money I am. And it's like, hey, she's a bulletin board monitor. But anyway, once again, you learn that life isn't always fair. But, it is what it is. But then there was Taylor, Sergeant Taylor.
Oh, I can smell it now.
He had a odor problem, and it came from his breath. And we call him Taylor, the bringer of breath and destruction. And he would leave a cloud. And you may think I'm lying, but you could kind of visibly see this thing. Mm-hmm. And it's like you would brace yourself and go through it. You cover your face. Oh, Jesus, and you go through it to another room. And the only thing that really was saving us was that he had the office. He had his own office. And we just tell him, man, just don't come out here. Just, we got everything controlled. You just sit there and do your paperwork,
Oh, but one time James Gold's walking through. He's walking through the back area of the office where we had was it the cutter and so forth. And all of a sudden he's just walking, and Taylor had just walked from I think my office. No, from the office where he put in the CD drive, old Morrison's office, right to where we had kind of our computer lab, if you want to call it that. James comes walking down the hallway. He's like, "Oh, slow! It's in my eye, dude! I lost my shit right there." He's like, "It's in my eye! It's in my eye!"
Yeah. And people just wouldn't believe this. And so I go get my boss, and I'm like, "Listen, this is your responsibility. You need to come down here and deal with this." And she came down. And she walked through that cloud and she just took off running out the building. And so I said, let me go out here and explain to her just what happened to her. I look around, she's nowhere in sight, And then about 20 minutes later, the phone rings and she says, I just can't deal with it. You're going to have to do this. I'm like, are you kidding me? I said, you ran all the way back to your office. I said, we're stuck in the building with this.
And in the meantime, Airman McCarrison and I had a conversation, and he called bio.
Yeah.
Now I don't know.
I called bio.
He called first and said they wouldn't do anything.
Oh, I called. Yeah. And they did something because I demanded. I said, we have a biohazard. And the people showed up in the suits with the Geiger counter and all that stuff. And they cleared the building. And they said, okay, Sergeant Chambers, we're going in here. I said, yeah, get in there. I said, because, man, we're not going back in that building until we identify what that is. I said, because my supervisor has put me in charge of it. Since she couldn't handle it, I'm handling it. So they went in there. And they said, Sergeant Chambers, I don't know what to tell you. It registers. We've registered something in there, but we just can't tell you what it is. I said, well, that's it. I said, he's going straight to the hospital. Now,
Weren't you forced to escort him?
Yeah. Yeah, I had to take him to the hospital and explain to him what was happening. And they aerovac'd him out to Osan, Korea. And they kept him there for about a week. And they determined that he had flux. I'm like, flux? What is flux? We've been fluxed. And I'm like, man, this dude is giving off radiation or something, And they talk about, well, acid reflux. No, this is worse than acid.
He had it coming out both ends, because I remember the time he stood there, you were talking to him, we were in that CD office one time, and all of a sudden he just stands there, and all of a sudden he just grabs his butt and he turns around and walks away, and I blurt out you told that to me, and I was like, Sergeant Chambers, what just happened? Why did he just leave? And you're like, Slow, shut up. like no, what just happened? And you're like, Slow, he shot himself. I'm like, what? He shot himself. I'm like, he's an adult.
Who does that, man? I don't know. But I, I hope that he got help. What I tried to do is send him to the hospital for them to, give him a medical discharge or something. But no, I don't know whatever happened, but I was just
you
glad.
were always professional, at least in my experience. You were always professional. We joke about the stuff now.
Yeah,
Yes, we had
absolutely.
these conversations, but when you were dealing with him, when you were dealing with Sergeant Powers, when you were dealing with Sergeant Snyder, it was always there. It was always professional. It was like between us that the problem would be. And then you have Sergeant Cox in the middle of it, just being like, "Guys, I can't
deal with this." he was like Mr. Spock on a downer,
Yes. Well, he told me later that the reason for that was he's like, because he got really angry with me one time when we were eating at the chow hall. He got really pissed off at me because me, I'm all spurging out on whatever, and he's like, "This is how you get ulcers, and this is what I don't want to deal with again." Ended up telling me that he had ulcers previously over stressing about stuff, so he kind of just went with the other track where he's just like,
Yeah, well, I can understand that. Yeah. Well, I used to just say, "Man, you're sucking the life out of me." It's like, and so I guess ulcers is another thing that happens. Yeah. But man, I got to the point where, it's like I had no energy left, man. I was just done. And, the only relief I had was you and Cox coming to the room, and we just sit there and just
chill out.
crack jokes about what happened the whole day. And
That's all you can do.
Yeah.
It's just, you got to laugh about it. You got to joke. But this is why, again, I was talking with people earlier about dark humor. I know for some people might be considered insensitive, but for me and maybe for you guys as well, it's just that was a coping mechanism because, they used to tell me, in Korea, you get lost in one of two things, at least in the 90s. Because remember, we were there right before the technological boom. Now, I know you were even there before then when it was all dirt roads and crap, but we were there right before the technological boom.
John, I'm not that old.
I mean, the 70s, I was a child. That's black and white TV, so the world was black and white, right? But you either get lost in the sauce or you get lost in your work. And because of you, you helped me get lost in my work because I was teetering on going the other way.
Yeah. And that's not for you. You're not the kind of person who needs to drink.
That's true.
You're off the chain already. I couldn't deal with a drunk slow. No, couldn't deal with you drunk. No.
To be fair, I understand you weren't drunk, but sitting in the room with you, Cox sitting by the door. I don't know how deep we want to go into this story, but this one is one that I'll always remember. It's hilarious to me because you and I had, we'll just say, an argument about a certain type of video out there. And I'm like, that's not real. That's not true. And you're like, yes, they are true. I'm like, no, nobody would ever do that kind of stuff, whatever. I go to your room. Cox is sitting there in his typical chair that he was in right next to the door. I sat on the other side, right? And we'd watch the TV. All of a sudden you get up, shut and lock the door. And Cox is like, what just happened? Are we being locked in here? Is this going to be one of those things where nobody shows up to work tomorrow or something? I'm sitting there like, I don't care at all. I'm like, whatever, And then you put in, we'll just say, a VHS tape. And I'm like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like, no, that can't be real. I'm like, you ruined my innocent childhood from that.
Yeah.
Like, no. And you pause it. You be like, no, you're going to watch until you understand this is real. You were bitching this entire time. It's not real. It's not real. That's bullshit. Nobody does it. Well, there it is. Look at
there
it.
It is right there. Look at him. Yeah. John was pretty naive.
Yep.
He hadn't experienced a whole lot. And I was trying to tell him, man, it's some horrible stuff out there, and he had never experienced any of this stuff. I said, okay, well, I got a videotape for you, buddy. A sexually explicit tape. And I was like, and it wasn't animals or anything crazy like that. It was an eye-opening experience for John. And he was like, I'll never doubt you again, man.
Right. By the way, this is my wife who said this, so she knows it's real. It's his. No, she put it's his German culture. Shut up. I'm an American.
How about that? But in all fairness, I had been to Minnesota before, so I kind of knew your background when you told me you were from Minnesota. You know.
Oh, hey there. Did I have the Uper accent back then? I don't know, but
Yeah, you did. You did. And when you told me you were from Minnesota, I figured you hadn't probably seen very many black people anyway. You know,
it's true.
Yeah, and for you to be sitting there telling me that, you didn't know what kind of reaction you were going to get, but you found out.
And to be fair, it could have gone in different directions, right? But with your personality, and at least if I can pat myself on the back for something, if put in the right direction, I always did want to learn, and I wanted the right answer, not an answer. And I saw what you did, whether through your actions. I didn't always believe the words just because that's the person I am, but I saw through the actions the right answer. I had nothing to do but to agree. And at every freaking turn, as much as I want to be, and even to this day, I'm 52 years old, I'm sitting on this live stream, and everybody knows that I always have to be right. Damn it, I couldn't always be right, you know.
Yeah. And I never noticed that, but you know, I try to hit you with the facts, you know, and that's what it's all about. You know, you hit the facts, you know, the truth always stands on its own, you know. And it's like, hey, you can not deny all you want to, but hey, facts and the truth is what it is, you know. And so once you put that out there, you got something to work with, you know. And
I heard, and I don't know how much of this is true, so this will be on you if this is kind of blown out of proportion or if it's real. I actually heard this from Sergeant Cox. So when I got to Andrews, I talked to Sergeant Cox once or twice since I was there. And by the way, he still had it in him. One of the best things he did, because I called him up one time and said, "Hey, Sergeant Cox," and understand that from my perspective, I'm looking at this as like, I know I was a shitbag airman. I know. Well, no, but I was at Kirtland, man. If I told you about, and I'm sure I did back then, but if I told you about all my Article 15s and letters of counselings and so forth that I had back then, I was a shitbag airman. The way I was fighting my supervisors. But
you had poor training, John.
Fair.
That's all. I keep telling you that. It's like nobody took the time with you like I did. You know, it's like you have to take time with people. You know, it's like you be selfish and all about you. It's not all about you. It's teamwork. You know, you work as a team. That's what you learn. That's what you learned.
Absolutely. No, I did, because it was more cutthroat where I was at my first base. But I told him, I said, "Hey, Sergeant Cox, this is awesome. I'm a senior airman at this point. I'm not even an NCO." And I'm like, "They just made me the assistant NCOIC of the shop." He cuts back. He's like, "Are you getting paid more?" Well, no. He's like, "Well, they can call you God. Who cares?" I'm like, "You just got more responsibility and no more pay." I was like, I was trying to be proud of my achievement that somebody, you know, but damn it, it's like,
yeah, but that was Cox.
Yeah, that was him.
Because he had the same responsibility. They made him responsible for the photo lab, and here you had people 3 tiers over him, and they had no responsibility, couldn't do the job.
Yep.
And so he was totally frustrated, but that's where we had stuff in common. Yep. We saw how we had to step up for these people who were retired on active duty, and
they were,
and making us do all the work with no compensation, man. We got no compensation other than the fact that
we have these stories.
We learned more than them. And like you say, you took that learning that you had and turned it into a profit. But, you know, my thing was, I just didn't want you guys to just, you know, get your life messed up or you know, something bad happen that I could prevent, you know. Mm-hmm. And that's what we did. We prevented each other from getting put in prison, probably, you know. Yeah.
You don't come back here no more.
Yeah. You know, got them come here. It's like Mr. Sock, you know. Oh, John had a problem with chewing.
Yeah, everybody knows about that, but yeah.
Yeah, John's like, Sergeant Chambers, if he smacks one more time. I was like, John, what is the problem? He's, no.
I ended up looking at Mr. Sock and saying, and we were in that little small room that was the CD room, right, where you do some of that stuff. And I just looked at him and I forget the exact words, but I know some of them, which is, if you're going to keep chewing like a dog, fucking lay down at your dish like a dog. And I turned around, Sergeant Chambers like, well, you got two options here. And I was, but the folks on my live streams and the folks who watch the channel know about the whole misophonia thing. Matter of fact, there was no term for it back then. That's actually a relatively new term.
How about that? And I didn't know what it was either, but I knew it bothered you something fierce, and I was going to try to do something about it, But
you told me I had a choice. I could apologize or get an LOR, and I was like, "That's not fair to get an LOR. You're supposed to get an LOC at first." And you're like, "No, you're going to get an LOR or you're going to apologize." Well, of course, I apologized. But yeah, I mean, that's one of those things that I had to deal with my entire Air Force career when nobody understood. Most people, in your benefit, you at least listened and like, well, if it's going to happen, then you're going to have to, we'll have to understand that, when Mr. Sock's eating, you stay away from him. And, well, whatever. We tried to make things work out. But there are still people who'd be like, oh, chewing bothers you?
Yeah, that's not cool. That's not cool. And I was never like that.
No,
man, that wasn't my thing. And to be honest with you, it bothered me, but not to the degree that it did you. I was taught manners, not to chew with your mouth open and all that stuff. So I knew exactly what you were talking about, but I just didn't know how badly it affected you, and that's live and learn. You get older, you get wiser, you find out about phobias and this and that. And hey, man, I've even met people who were molested as children and really didn't know that they had been molested until I explained it to them what molestation is, So, that's just one of those things.
The brain is a funny tool.
Yeah, we got to educate people. You got to take the time and see. Nobody wants to take the time and explain things. So you should know that already. Well, no, not necessarily. You don't know my walk. You don't know where I've been. It's like if you've been somewhere I haven't, take the time and explain it to me. Mm-hmm. And that's what I did a lot with John. Boy, I had stories for him. He just thought I was like, man, you are the craziest person I've ever met. I said, no, man, I just grew up in a different time, in a different era. Things were different.
Oh yeah, there are definitely a couple of stories that I think would be hilarious to bring up, but I'm not sure YouTube would be okay with it. So, so I'm not going to, if things we saw. But if you don't mind, if people can't tell already from just this conversation here with James, like I said, we live through these things. And I said this earlier in the stream as well. We live through these things. If my wife were to recount the story again, I'd be like, yes, honey, I was there. I know. But we're still laughing about this crap now. Like there's just that weird vibe, that weird energy. But with that said, there are some stories I would like to bring up because I just like hearing them from you. You know which ones they are. Things like I'd love to put a poll out there for folks. I might just do that. Put a poll out there for folks. How many people out there have been attacked by chickens?
Oh goodness!
If you don't, it's up to you. I'm not going to make you tell anything you don't want to tell.
I thought you were doing a poll right now. No. But the chickens. Well, I had a cousin, J.Y., my dad's cousin, which was an older gentleman, the same age as my dad. He had a general store, and the people didn't have money, so they would trade things. They traded, I guess, coins, chickens. They traded a monkey one time. They didn't have money. And where the hell they got that monkey? That's another story. I don't know. But anyway, so the kids down there figured that I was from the city, which I wasn't, but it was bigger than their little small town in South Carolina. And they say, oh, here comes this city boy, and I'm like, yeah, I'm cool. I'm, not like you country bumpkins, So they would do little things to mess with me. They say, I bet you won't throw a rock in that tree. I'm like, are you stupid? Yeah, throw a rock in a tree? That's your little challenge to me? It's like, yeah, you guys are just pitiful. And so little did I know there was something in the tree, but I couldn't see it. And so I throw the rock into the tree. And at that moment that the rock went into the tree. There was this, and these banny roosters were what they were, fighting chickens. They would fly up into the tree. And they would just sit there and roost up in there. And I threw that thing in there and they rained down on me with a fury. I mean, they were pecking and scratching me and I was all on the ground. Then I take off running and they're running behind me. I've never experienced any shit like that in my life. I'm like, what the world, And, yeah, needless to say, that was traumatizing, and they thought that was the funniest thing ever because they knew.
We didn't believe him at first. We're like, because I remember it was Pfeiffer, and I don't know if McCarrison was there or not, but it was me and Pfeiffer for sure. We're like, dude, chickens don't fly. What are you talking about? They don't fly. And we would for months we wouldn't believe him. He finally one day he was just calling home, because that's what we do in Cree. Get your 115-minute morale call and call home. He's got his dad on the phone. He's like, get over here. He's like, tell him about the chickens. And all of a sudden his dad's like, yeah, because I remember his dad said, yeah, Junior was out there one time and blah, blah. And we're like, this shit's real. But we had to have his dad. I mean, this is like, at that time you were like, what, late 30s? We had a late 30s-year-old man had to have his dad validate his story because we wouldn't believe him. We were like, after that, we were like, it's still funny. We're still giving him crap for it.
And my dad tells him, well, they got wings, don't they? Like, well, your dad's crazy too. But the difference was these were domestic chickens. These were banny roosters. You have to look that up, banny rooster or whatever. But these roosters were not like that little brown chicken that you see around just pecking and going on, man. These things were vicious. This is a chicken with an attitude, man. This is a chicken from hell. They lived in a tree, and there was more than one. I mean, there had to be about 10 of them up there. And when they flew down, feathers were flying, and all I heard was the and I'm like, God, what in the world? There wasn't no, I've heard birds, tweet, 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 and there wasn't none of that.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That reminds me, I remember you just I haven't thought about this one probably since Korea. Remember when those big flock of birds would fly overhead? You would not go outside.
Yeah.
Like, Shlo, that's you've seen Alfred Hitchcock. That's the bird. and the thing is he seriously, we'd be in the chow hall, we'd be at work or whatever. He'd just shut the door like, I'm not going out there.
No, man, because, once you get attacked like that as a child, man, that does something. And that brings me to the monkey. Now, the same thing, these people don't have money, so somehow he got a monkey. And I like to go down there because he give me candy. I'm like, he got the general store and we go down to, Cousin Jay, why I got the candy, you're going to get the candy. Okay. And so soon as I got out of the car, they came out of the house and they were all standing there. And then the monkey comes out of the house. I'm like, what is that? And he walks over and then, don't be scared. I'm like, I ain't scared, but I don't want nothing to do with this monkey, And he's sitting there looking at me talking about, I'm like, no. I'm like, no. And I guess he figured since I was about the same size as him, I was the smallest thing out there, he was going to challenge me or do, I don't know what he was doing. Had his little hands going, little monkey hands all over. I'm like, yo, need to get your monkey. You need to get your monkey, man. Get your monkey. And don't be scared of me. I'm like, man, look. So anyway, we go in the house and like old people do, they sat there and started talking. And the monkey's sitting on the other side of the room watching me the whole time going. I'm like, dude, don't you see this monkey's over here messing with me? And so I'm on the couch and I'm watching him. He's watching me. And as those old folks kept talking, I started getting sleepy. And I look up, the monkey was still there. I said, yeah, you better stay over there. Yeah. And one of those times I didn't come up and I came up, he was gone. Monkey was gone. I'm like, where the hell is the monkey? Wait. I'm like, oh, Jesus. I think he's going to attack me. I know it. I know he's going to feel it. And it's like, so, I didn't see him. So I leaned back. The monkey was back here. Ah, jumps on my head. I'm like, oh, Jesus. So now he's got his little monkey hands and his monkey feet all on my face and my genitals, man. He's all on my sack. I'm like, oh, Jesus. And my mom says, Junior, stop messing with the monkey. I'm like, are you fool? This monkey's attacking me. He's killing me, and I'm in the floor wrestling with this monkey and they're just going on with their conversation like ain't nothing happening. And I'm fighting for my life. I mean, this is traumatizing. I was molested. He was in my butt crack everywhere. My hands was all in my mouth. Oh, God. And when I finally got this damn monkey off of me, then it's like they sit there and say, now leave him alone. I'm like, you ain't ever got to worry about me coming back here, And I didn't go back there until that monkey died. And then they had the nerve to still have his head sitting there. I'm like, who does that?
They kept his head?
The monkey skull.
You're supposed to keep the monkey paw. Come on.
Oh, no, man. I'm like, oh my God. And to this day, I can't stand a monkey. I will whoop a monkey's ass. You hear me? I was young then, and he got me good, but I don't even go to the zoo, man, because if a monkey, man, I see a monkey, it's like, hey, man, I ain't no telling why I might fight the monkey. You know what I'm saying?
We actually share not the experience you just had, but I talk about all the time. Like, I hate monkeys. It's like the only animal I actually hate. And people are like, well, it's because is he like your grandfather? You're the primate? No, I just don't fucking like monkeys. And when people own them and they get their faces ripped off, I usually say that's what you deserve. A monkey belongs in the fucking wild, not in your house. And right. You know what? I didn't experience that, but just hearing that story, I know I'm right. You fucking hate monkeys.
Hey, can you imagine as a child, man? I couldn't have been no more than about 4, maybe 4, or maybe 5, but still, you're a child. You're not expecting it. I never seen no monkey. I saw it on Wild Kingdom, on the TV, and cheetah. Tarzan had cheetah, whatever. That was about it. But to come to face first time with a monkey, and he's touching you and attacking you and making the monkey noise and showing you, what, man?
Did that ruin you to nature as a whole? Because I do remember, and you don't have to recount this one, but I remember, we'll just say the horseback ride, that you were angry about the horseback ride because you kept telling us like you didn't want to be out there in nature and all this other stuff. Was that the monkey that did that?
No, okay. No. I had an allergy to horses. Some people are allergic to horses. Yeah. And then I found out later that some people don't clean their horses. Some people don't take good care of their horses, and they have dander and all kind of stuff, and that can get in your eyes, make your eyes swell up. I didn't know that, but anyway, I had the horse from hell too. It's like all these animals from hell, man. And
so what you're saying is they're good to watch on TV. They're not necessarily good.
Yeah, I wanted to be a cowboy, but we went to the fair, and my dad put me on the horse. And when I got off that horse, man, my eyes were swollen shut. And it's like, man, I was like, yeah, well, I guess that cowboy thing is out. But yeah.
When I was 7, my aunt on my real dad's side, she raised horses. I mean, she might even still now. I don't know. But they're like, hey, you should go horseback riding. So the first time ever I went horseback riding because they wanted me to be more involved in that, I got on the horse. Well, nobody told me that if you loosen the reins on a horse, basically she was like, hey, the horse is well trained. You tell it, I forget what the commands were, that, push with this foot to do that, push with that foot to do that, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody told me that if you kind of relax after you get comfortable, that tells the horse to go.
Yeah.
So I'm like holding on to this thing for dear life. Oh my God. Okay, this is kind of fun. It's listening. It's kind of fun. All right. So I finally relaxed. That thing took off and I'm like, like the entire time they're like, tighten up on the reins. Well, I'm 7 years old hearing this and they're screaming from that far. All I'm hearing is, like, I'm like, finally the horse like tired out. Or no, I'm sorry. She got her horse up to mine. She's like, tighten up on the reins. As soon as I did that, Horse was great. I was 7. I didn't even wait for instruction or anything. I just leapt off the horse. Like, no, you can't do that. Well, I did. I was like, nope, I'm out. I'm done.
I know, man. Well, I didn't know, doing that horseback riding thing on my honeymoon, which is another story. I didn't know that a horse could turn his head around. They gave me the slowest, oldest, stinking horse there was. Everybody else had these horses, they're like spry, they're jumping around, it's like my horse is like, oh, did I'm like, dude.
You got Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, like the worst horse ever. So we take off for the trail, you're supposed to ride this trail. And so everybody takes off. My horse is still like sitting there trying to eat grass. And I'm like, I saw cowboy movies. You kick them, So I kick him in the side. I'm like, yeah. And that horse looked up straight in the air like, oh, I know this fool didn't kick me. And then he turned his head around and tried to bite me. I was like, oh, shit. And they got big teeth. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, holy shit, no. It's like, well, go then, motherfucker. And so we take off, and he's walking slow. Well, now his mission is to knock me off his back. So he's going through the brush. I'm like, oh, dude, this thing is not even on the trail, man. Like trying to go through low branches and stuff. And yeah. I'm on a video conference. My wife is, she's like, what are you doing up there?
He's having a little dementia right now. We're helping him.
Yeah, my wife's concerned for my health.
It's all smiles. So this is good. This is exercise. We're all good.
Yeah, right. So anyway, it's like he's taking me through the low brush, trying to knock me off and bite me at the same time. I'm like, oh gosh, when I got off that horse, I was swollen and everybody's just laughing. I said, this is not funny. I said, this is a vicious horse you gave me, man, and it's slow and hateful. I was like, man, I don't never want to ride a horse. And I haven't rode a horse again after that. I'm done with it. So
I guess you have.
Yeah.
Have you ridden a monkey?
No, I fight a monkey. You kidding? But I would actually like to have my revenge on the monkey. Just a one-on-one type thing in the monkey. Because I still think about that. If I had been prepared, if he hadn't snuck me from behind, I think I could have took him. But he got the advantage of me because he jumped from behind and like monkey grip me, what I'm saying, all up in my face, and they're like, yeah, yeah, but yeah, one-on-one, yeah, I'd like to have another chance at that monkey, yeah, I would.
Just so the folks know, that first of all, this is a charity stream for Wounded Warrior Project, so I haven't checked the donations. But let's see if anything's popped in here since then. Nope, doesn't look like it. But so please, I do have to update. We do have actually $250 more than what's in the. So we're at what, 500, 600? I don't know. I can't math right now. It looks like 600. That's awesome. I appreciate everybody who's donated.
But that's good, John. You're doing that for the Wounded Warrior. That's great.
We picked the Wounded Warrior Project because I knew some people that were helped by them. I didn't know much about them. I can't be. You can be, but I can't be helped by them because I got out just before 9/11 and they help people 9/11 and later. But that's fine. They've helped enough people that I know that it's worth doing. And I like doing this. We do it once a year, and so I'm happy to do this.
Yeah.
But so just so folks know, what you're seeing right here between him and I, this was maybe the energy was a touch lower, but this was almost every day in Korea. Whether you're every day, like this is what made Korea go by so quickly. Again, I know every story that he's telling. We've talked to me even on the phone recently. We've recounted some of these things going on, but they make me laugh every time. There's something about that friendship there that just like, and I do, and I absolutely. I'm not trying to butter him up here, but I absolutely respect him. Probably more than anybody other than my actual direct family. There's a very close second in terms of my Air Force career. I'll mention him right now, Sergeant Don Diano, who kind of followed up from Sergeant Chambers. Absolutely some of the best people I ever met and got me through times that, sure, might not be war, might not have been actual war with bullets flying past my head, but we had our own issues of politics that could have got me kicked out, that could have caused us problems and whatever. And it was our little circle of Sergeant Chambers, Sergeant Cox, and myself that honestly got us through all of that because of these kind of stories and just laughing about this shit.
Yeah, that's it. You know, we had to laugh and keep from going crazy, you know?
Yeah, you had to teach me how to laugh. Honestly, the first because I'd be angry. You know me, I would be just really angry about this stuff because I took everything personally, right?
Yeah.
Sergeant Chambers would go out for a cigarette smoke. Again, we both smoked back then. I actually stopped smoking because of him and started going to the gym because I was like, I don't want to have that head shake. But he'd be outside that back door and he'd just be out there. God damn it, slow, and his head would be shaking. And what's going on now? But he'd always end it with a laugh. No matter how bad it was, he'd always end it with that laugh, kind of thing. But it was infectious and it was needed.
Yeah.
Or you're going to lose your mind.
That was it, man. That was it.
Yeah. My wife might actually think that Sergeant Don Diano should be higher on the list because he did. Sergeant Don Diano told me to marry who my wife is now. Because Sergeant Don Diano was in Okinawa at the time that I was there. I was there as a contractor. He was still in the military. Yes, he did tell me you should marry that woman. So, and I made the mistake. I mean, I did, and I've not regretted it a day since then. At least that I'll tell people publicly.
Right. No, you don't regret it.
No, not at all.
Go through little things, but hey, you love her.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. But the fact is that we can bust each other's balls like that. Well, okay, my wife doesn't have balls, I hope. But the fact that we do. That's actually what when I went out my first actual me and just her date. Mm-hmm. We had a conversation. I do not remember what the conversation was about. I honestly don't. But she looked over at me and she said something to the effect of like, "If you say something like that again, I'm going to throw you underneath my car and run you over with my own car or something like, or with your own car, whatever the hell it was." And I was like, "I like this woman."
Yeah.
Like, okay, you know what?
She knew how to handle you.
Yeah. And so, absolutely. But yeah, Korea, man, like, it was only, like, honestly, you realize that we were only in that close proximity for just like 9 months.
Yeah.
And 30 years, is it 30 years? Yeah, we're talking 30 years later. Seriously, what month are we in? November? More than 30 years later, because I left in July. So 30 years and some odd months later, that stuff is stuck with this. And, I hope, and I'm not saying this so you talk nice about me, I'm just saying in general, I hope I had some sort of good influence on you as well, because I know at that time...
John, if it hadn't have been for you, the work wouldn't have got done in Korea. I counted on you to do everything because I didn't know how, because I was not a graphics person. I was an illustrator. And I kept telling everybody that I am not graphics. I am an illustrator. I'm supposed to be a medical illustrator. And you put me in this field, and I know nothing about computers. All I can do is art. I can illustrate. So John was the backbone of the graphic shop because he did all the graphic works. Him and Mr. Sock, the civilian, and I was grateful for that because they expected me to do something that I had never been trained for. Of course,
you had to be leader, and you had to be leader over things you weren't supposed to be leader of, and you had to babysit NCOs, and you.
Right, yeah. So it was quite a bit. I owe you some gratitude too, John. And I call it like I see it, because I know I couldn't have done the work. And see, that was getting on your nerves a lot too, because you say, "Well, you're taking in all these work orders, but you're not really doing the work." I am, and I understood that too. I said, okay. From now on, it's like I'm gonna check and see if you're able to do it. So I did that. I don't know if you remember that. I said, "Yeah, you're right." I said, "I don't even know if you know how to do some of these things," and that is a problem. And so
it's funny. That was the wild, wild west of computer era. So we could put like any programs we wanted on the computers, but there's a benefit to that. We had now these are a lot for folks out there who might know modern software. These are really old, but we had like PageMaker and Freehand and Quark and PowerPoint, Photoshop before it had layers, like you name CorelDRAW was a big one. Like we had all these different things. So we'd have to figure out which one is going to be the best one for this application. But the benefit of that is you were the first person, because Kirtland never let me do this. And I took this with me when I went to Andrews. You let me play around and do personal shit on the computers as long as I could show what I learned from it in terms of training. So I learned how to make character sheets for my tabletop games. I learned how to make little landscapes for my role-playing games. And I learned how to put some of this stuff together, which honestly made me a better graphic artist.
Yeah, and you would be over in the night doing stuff, and I didn't care, man. It's like you got all the work done. Hey, that's the least I could do is let you have some fun,
Well, I took that with me to Andrews, and Andrews was cool about that as well. After I kind of pushed it forward, like I made my album covers for the band I was in, but I did it through training. Like I could actually show what I learned. And this is, you didn't teach me this directly, but definitely indirectly, I picked up on this. When I was, I got into a competition with a couple of airmen on Andrews. It started off not being friendly, but it ended up being a very friendly competition where I would show somebody how to do something. I was getting frustrated with them for not learning more. And I'm like, guys, you stop sitting here and just talking about movie quotes all day and actually let's learn how to do something. And so what I would do is I would do something like make a certificate, but have like Bryce 3D was new back then. Now it's since ancient software. And we'd make these nice like backgrounds of floating balls and so how the hell did you do that? Well, I would show them about 90%, but I wouldn't show them the 100%. And then they would play around, and about a week or two later, they'd show me something, be like, well, crap, how did you do that? Well, they picked up on the trick, and they'd show me about 90%. But by not knowing that 10%, they found a different avenue to go in, and we ended up learning a lot of new stuff. Our graphic shop ended up making videos for people long before you were supposed, because we didn't have a videography shop, long before you were supposed to be able to do that. We had access to Premiere and some other stuff long before then, because we showed all this kind of growth and we were impressing commanders and so forth. Because you remember when we were in graphics, you weren't allowed to really be artistic. You could draw clip art, you could draw a jet. But I'm saying is like you couldn't have this really cool looking brochure. No, it had to be yellow. Was it? Blue background, white title, all that crap that had
the standard, what they used to call it, command standard or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, it all had to be uniform. Yeah, and it's like, you guys have no creativity. Yeah. But that's because they were old and ate up. Well,
again, it was Wild Wild West. Well, I kind of had the opposite problem when I went to Andrews. So I had some people there who were really artistic, man. They were absolute. Like I think Jelani was a graffiti artist or something. Airman Kasky ended up actually being a lieutenant colonel, I think, chaplain. But even one of them that I ended up having, he beat me. He ended up palace chasing before I could kick him out. But I tried to kick him out because he needed to be. But we would. I forgot what I was saying. Damn it! I do that all the time to myself. Not the competition side, but dang it! I forgot what I was saying. Anybody who watches my streams know I do this shit all the time. So I sidetrack myself because my brain's going like 50 different directions. I'm going to remember when you're gone. But there was something there. We were talking about you could draw. They were really, and they used to yell at me all the time, like Schlo. It's like, I need you. It's like, Sergeant Schlo, you're just so stuck in the mud. I don't want to make a boring, black title, red bolt, whatever. And I'd be like, look, what does the 833 say? Oh, that's the form people filled out for work orders. Like, what does it say? The customer said what he wants. That's what you give him. Yeah. The customer doesn't know what he likes. The customer doesn't know. So here's what I had to do. I had to do things, again, basing this on the premise of you multiple times, not just that one time, sticking your neck out for me and showing me, well, this is the result of if we do this. Yeah. I'd literally take them to the OSS squadron and say, do you see this wall of signs here? Do you think they want they got 7 signs here and you're fixing number 2. Do you think that they want your weird, crazy, artistic look design in here, throwing off this entire wall of ROEs that they have and so forth? Like, no. I'm fine, I'll do it.
Yeah, right. They didn't understand.
Yeah.
You have to show them.
Yeah. But I'm glad that even though it happened after I was out, I'm glad the Air Force relaxed on that and actually allowed. Because when I was in Okinawa, Sergeant D and some of those people were actually showing me things that they've done. I'm like, man, I wish we were allowed to do that. We weren't even allowed to do that. So I'm glad they finally changed on that before they killed the career field.
Right, exactly. Yeah, but it is what it is. You grow and you learn.
That is absolutely true. By the way, you are welcome to stay as long as you want, leave whenever you want. So far, this is totally chill on you. I do have one story I would like to recount for you just to get your opinion. This isn't one you were aware of. If I told you, I'd be surprised. But this happened to me, and I want to know your take on this one.
Okay.
So imagine this, you're at combat training. So remember, I had to go to, when I went to Andrews, we were like backups to combat cameras. So we had to go through the Phoenix readiness combat training that they had to go through, convoy protection, mount training, blah, 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 all that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So the first time I went, and I've had a few people who are in the military tell me I should have been written up for this. Even had one guy told me I should have gotten Article 15 for this, even though it was training. So kind of spoiling something there. Convoy training. When the convoy gets, what they do is they put a Humvee in front of it and the convoy has to stop and you have to basically kill the Op-4, right? Mm-hmm. Well, everybody is supposed to go out. If you're on this side of the convoy, you go like this into the woods. If you're on this side of the convoy, you go like this into the woods. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, for whatever reason, we went this way and I should have been the last person. Everybody except for one person followed me. Now, mind you, our commander of the whole unit was on the other side. We had a long convoy, but the commander, who was a first lieutenant at the time, he was on the other side. He's the only one that technically went the right way.
No,
for his side, my side went the right way, but everybody else followed me. So all of a sudden, he's like, "Guys, come over!" And so one person goes running across the road. Guess what happens?
He get hit.
Yep. Yeah. You know, we did the miles gear then, so it was like, you're out. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we're moving forward. We hear gunfire in front of, because I think I was in the last truck, if I remember correctly. Mm-hmm. And we hear gunfire, more squealing going off as the Op-4 is doing their thing. We're doing our thing, just moving forward, right? And then he's like, come on, I need somebody over here. Another person goes running across the road.
Yeah, right.
So I got this girl behind me. And she's like, I don't know. I said, just follow me. Don't worry about it. Yeah, but he's the commander. He's all alone. And he's yelling at me. I'm like, shut the hell up and let's go forward. And what really made me angry about this, and I don't think I've told this part of the story before, is she actually was combat camera.
Oh, okay.
So she's supposed to be trained even more than me, right?
So more than you, right?
Yeah. But so I'm like, just follow me. We'll go ahead. We'll at least catch up with some people, because my squad was still kind of fine, but they're getting ahead as I was trying to like, let's go. Mm-hmm. So he's like, I get over here now. I laid down. I shot my lieutenant. And I learned a lesson there. I learned. This is why officers got killed in Vietnam.
Right. I was going to say that happened all the time in Vietnam, because they were doing stupid stuff like that and getting people killed. He had already got 2 people killed by telling them to come across the road. The first one got shot. He should have realized that there was a sniper or somebody sitting there waiting for everybody to come across the road. Why would he keep yelling for somebody to come over there? You know, and it's like, but that, John, officers, you know, hey, there's some good officers out there, but just like everybody else, there's good and there's bad. And inexperience got a lot of people killed in the military, you know, inexperience. And like you said, even though this girl was supposed to be more trained than you, she was more inexperienced than you are. So therefore, you shouldn't listen to anything that she says.
Yeah, you know, for her take, she was just confused because the lieutenant was yelling. She ended up following me. She got killed before me. My death is hilarious. Mm-hmm. I got yelled at for this, and I deserved to be yelled at for it, but it was fucking hilarious. I literally was the last person alive.
Yeah,
I'm up at that Humvee, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting at the wheel well, and I know the Op-4 guys on the other side of the Humvee. What they want you to do and what you're trained to do and what I should have done is pop my head out, fired, and it would have been over.
Right.
What do you think I did?
I don't know. You went all the way out?
I Rambo'd that thing, dude. I have my M16.
Yeah, that's you. That's you. So you were running out there like Rambo, yeah, just guns a blazing.
Yeah. I was like, hey, I got him.
Yeah.
He also got me.
Yeah.
Cadre comes running up to me. What the hell was that? You were the last one alive. You could have at least got the keys out of the Humvee, got the thing for blah, 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 blah. and I'm sitting here with the shit-eating grin on my face. I'm like, yeah, I got him. That was worth it. That was worth it.
I went out in a blaze of glory. Yeah. I can see you doing that. Yeah. Yeah.
Without the, if there were real bullets flying, I'd probably still be sitting in that wheel well today. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But there wasn't. I was just like, I could do this.
Yeah, that's it.
Nah. Cadre did not let me live that down, and I got tore up for about a half hour, man.
Yeah, but John, back to the officer thing. Nah, don't shoot the officers. Just ignore them, man. You should just let them keep yelling, and they eventually would have went over there and killed them for you. You know.
Well, here's the thing: is the girl was holding me up, and she looked like she was going to go. Matter of fact, I think she said something like, "I got to do it. He's yelling at me," or something like that, and I was just done with him. And so, would I have done that if it's a real bullet? I don't know. But here's what it did. Just as you opened my eyes to that, this big organization can absolutely have the most ridiculous 26 goddamn hours in the day. You find the other two nonsense and whatnot. This actually opened my eyes to the fact that, holy shit, this officer is supposed to care about the people who I get it. This is a war and whatnot, and bad things are going to happen, but you're supposed to have good leadership capability. Yeah. I now understand. Literally, the thing that went through my head is like what you said and what I said earlier is like, I now understand why some, I wouldn't say all of them, but some officers got shot in Vietnam.
Yeah, exactly. And they told you that. It's like, hey, instead of them relying on the people who had been there for years or whatever, they want to go over there and just because they got a little butter bar on their collar, they think they're supposed to give everybody orders instead of learning how everything works, you know?
You know who I liked from Korea? I bet you don't even remember his name, but Lieutenant Lampkin.
Yeah, I remember Lampkin.
I used to, because the first day we met him, he came in, and I can't remember because Major Quinn, of course, was there. You know how we feel about him. But Major Quinn was there, and he's introducing Lieutenant, and I forget what happened, but he'd done something wrong or said something wrong about graphics or whatever, and you or somebody corrected him. He's like, lieutenants, you can dress them up, but you can't take us anywhere. And it helped me understand that lieutenant recognized that, look, I'm just a butter bar. I need to learn. Help me learn. And he's actually the first LT that I came across that actually had that mentality. Before then, every LT I came across was like this, you're just an airman, I'm an LT.
Yeah, these visions of grandeur. But there were humble ones that really cared about the people and wanted to learn how to do their job. And, and it's just like anything. Like I said, it doesn't matter whether it's civilian or military. You got people who really care about people, have good personalities. Then you got the people who just jumped up straight out of hell. It's like, it's like, hey, they don't care about nothing, man. I don't know, they're psychotic or whatever their issue is. They got complexes, they got all kind of issues, and they're taking it out on you, man. They got all kind of stuff going on with them, and needless to say, I dealt with a lot of racism, and you really didn't see it, but man, there was a lot of racism in Korea.
Was there?
Yes.
When we were there, the first time, or both?
Yeah, when we were there. Yes. It's like, man, look at here. The major, when he talked to me, man, you wouldn't believe how belittling he was. With all the responsibility and all the stuff I had, he would talk to me just in this tone that if you had heard it, it would have pissed you off. But me being used to dealing with that stuff, I knew who I was dealing with. Should I say? And it didn't bother me as much. But yeah, there was a lot of racism, but you being the way you are and from Minnesota, you just didn't really catch it, man. It was a lot of racism there. Not just against me, the Koreans also, man, They did not care too much for a lot of the Korean people, and he was one of the ones that really felt some kind of way about the Korean people themselves, which is why me and him had it out with about Mr. Sock.
There you go.
He tried to tell me that I couldn't even be friends with this man. So what are you talking about?
So was this during the time when old Mr. Sock was trying to help young Mr. Sock? Yeah, okay.
No. See, it wasn't even like that. Mr. Sock had all this knowledge and stuff about the graphic shop. He had all the masters, all the stuff, you know what I'm saying? And he would get an extension, you know what I'm saying, to stay there. He wasn't ready to retire, should I say. And there was no reason for him to retire other than the fact that the major had talked to this woman and wanted her in there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
This woman had enticed him, oh, you want boyfriend? You want to be my boyfriend? And it's like, oh yeah, you got to go, Sock. You out of here, man. You ain't got the right kind of drawers on. You know what I'm saying? Oh, your ass is gone. And so Mr. Sock was like, Chambers, man, this guy, he told me what was going on. I'm like, really, man? This guy's like that? And he said, this guy, number 10. Yeah, number 10. I said, okay. And when I met him, I saw exactly what it was. And he started threatening me day one. You are not to be friends with Mr. Sock. You're not supposed to talk to him. I said, I've known Mr. Sock. You hear what I'm saying? Yeah, I hear what you're saying. But, I didn't tell him, but that was an unlawful order.
Right.
You can't tell somebody who they can be friends with. So then he took it one step higher. He said he was a communist. Really, dude? You're going to this communist thing? Like the man's been working over 20 years in the graphic shop. Now all of a sudden he's a communist and he's a threat, to the Air Force. It's like, give me a break. But like I said, I handled that. And so the woman came to me and she was like, you give me interview. I said, no. I said, don't give you no interview because that's not my job. You have to go through the civilian personnel office. I said, I don't hire anybody. But see, she had went to that commander. He should have done the same thing I did. Go to the civilian. This base runs through a civilian personnel office. No officer, no enlisted, nobody hires anybody. And see, Mr. Sock had that on lock, And so she come over there with the little short skirt and pinning over and all that. We have an interview. No, we're not having an interview. I said, you done came in my office. And what she was trying to do is get me to ask her some questions like she was going, like she was in an interview and she was going to go back and say that she got an interview with me. And I said she was hired. You must be crazy. No.
That would put you on the spot a little bit, right?
Yeah. See, because I know my job. I knew my job very well, even though I couldn't do it. I knew it. I couldn't do the graphics, stuff like I should, but I knew what it was to be in charge of a graphic shop.
The funny thing is you're a tech sergeant, and for the folks out there, that's an E6, but he's probably the best master sergeant that shop ever had.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? Because I was filling the master sergeant position, and what they should have done was give me the step promotion, but they wouldn't do it. But that's neither here nor there because, hey, I'm still good. I'm still here. And I'm still blessed. So
you didn't lick or kiss enough boots. That's the problem. I know there was a question I wanted to ask earlier, and this is what I was actually saying about. I don't know if the story is true or not. So I'll let you express it. Let me tell it how it was expressed to me, and you can tell me no, that's BS or that's true or here's the reality of it. Okay. After I left. Obviously this part because I was pretty pissed off about this myself, is you wrote me up for a commendation medal. And if I remember correctly, you wrote McCarrison up for a commendation medal as well. Because to be fair, he may have had an alcohol problem, but he did do his job well. And he put himself out there and so forth, right?
I put you and Cox up for commendation.
No, I thought it was me and McCarrison.
No, Cox.
Okay.
No, that he wasn't my troop. So I didn't write anything for him. I wrote it for Cox.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Achievement met. No, it was a
Commendation.
no, it was higher than that. It was the one higher than a achievement. What was that?
which is commendation. It's it's an achievement commendation. And I remember because I did see the original write up for that one. Well, so just so the folks know kind of what happened out there, we had an E8. She ended up becoming chief. I wonder why. I actually saw her as a chief and not pleased. But basically, she copied our.
She took your stuff and got her promotion. Yes.
So Major Quinn came back. So you wrote us up for the commendations, and she wrote herself up for an MSN, which is right. She's I shouldn't say right, but she's a senior NCO. That's what they normally do, is a meritorious service medal. Well, Major Quinn came back and said you can have either 3 commendations across the board, or there's going to be 1 meritorious service and 2 achievements. Well, since she signed off on the medals, I wonder how that was going to look. And so, I came out of there. I remember writing a nasty letter to my mom, and my mom showed it to my grandma because she was all proud of me. My grandma chewed me out because I had a lot of F-bombs in there about how pissed off I was about that.
It was wrong. It was wrong on so many different levels. And after all I did for, her career, she did nothing for me either. But that's the way it told me
when I talked to him the first time. Cox told me you missed some fireworks. I was like, "Oh, what is that?" Apparently, this is again. I'm just going with what I remember him telling me, so it's kind of third-hand account. But apparently, he said you went over there and you just started raising your voice at her, basically like, "This is bullshit. You're doing this for yourself. You just screwed over my 2 airmen, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera."
Yeah.
To the point where he had me visualizing. You had like 1 foot on her desk with your finger, like you're knife handing her.
Man, look at here. With what she did to me, I felt like, if you can't handle the tech sergeant that outranks me, you better not ever say anything to me. And I've had that happen several times. If you let an airman talk to you any kind of way, and then you're going to try to come to me as an NCO and try to make me do something, I said, oh no. No, it don't work like that. It's like you have a chain of command, and it's just common sense, man. If you can't discipline an airman, you're gonna try to discipline me as an NCO, a sergeant? No, you can't do that. That's not acceptable. So that's the way I felt about her. She didn't do anything to that woman when she couldn't do a job, and she didn't do nothing to Taylor. All these people were outranking me, and I had to go and pull their duties. You know what I'm saying? Do their work, man. And for her to do that, it was like, I don't care what you say to me. What can you say to me? Because actually, I should have been complaining about her.
Yeah,
she wasn't doing her job. She didn't do her. I did her job too.
The fact that she, and again, I can't speak to everything because obviously you're more privy with conversations with her than I was at that time. But the fact that she took our medals and gave it to herself, to me, that should have been a third part. Somebody else should have signed off and then looked them over.
She told me it wasn't like that. She said, no, it wasn't like that. It was this, that, and other thing. I said, you can say whatever you say.
There were 2 options. I heard from Major Quinn himself. I saw what they call the distro letter. I saw the distro letter from Major Quinn that said either all 3 get commendations or there's going to be 1 meritorious service and 2 achievements. She was the one that freaking signed off on the fact that she got the meritorious service and we got commendations. Does it really matter in the grand scheme of things? No, but for us airmen out there, that's 2 points towards promotion right there I lost out on. And guess how much I missed Staff Sergeant by my second time testing?
2
by 0.46.
Yep, and I missed Master by 1.
Oh my God. The people. Yeah, again, are these the worst horror stories when you compare it to people who lost legs and limbs and so forth? No, but everybody, but this does go back to kind of like what you were talking about before. You have to understand people's walk and where they've come from and so forth. And it's hard to talk to some people, not about combat, but about the shenanigans that we went through in Korea, because you can't believe it unless you live. At some point, somebody's gonna be typing in a chat. Okay, guys, seriously, because we've told maybe 1/10 at best of even the important stories.
Mm.
Like, come on, like it was just such a shit show.
Yeah,
at least at that
was. The military, man. It was the best thing I could have done, because the fact that where I was from in Gastonia, North Carolina, all they had was cotton mills, and didn't have the money to go to school or anything like that. So I went into service. So, hey, it was the best move that I could have made, at that time. And I don't knock the military for that, but I do knock the people with what they did in the military. Man, it's like, it was some horrible stuff they did, man. And it didn't have to be that way, because just like me and you met and we worked and we got all that stuff done, man, we achieved things that you just wouldn't, other people just never did, in that shop.
I didn't. This part I didn't learn from you necessarily. I think I did, but it was more vicariously. I had a chief tell me one time. So when I was at Andrews after Korea, they made us become alert photographers as at least training. Now, mind you, this wasn't going in our training or it went in our training records, but I wasn't actually trained. And I sat down with the chief one time and I said, "This is bullshit, chief. You're making me do this cross utilization and so forth, and I get it. We're going to do it, but you can't hold me accountable." I literally haven't been trained. Just because you put it in my training records doesn't count. You actually have to have AFSC, for other people out there, MOS, but you have to actually be trained.
A career field. Yeah. You have to have a career. Yeah.
And he's right. And then I started talking to him, but I said, "This is what's been going on. This is what's been going on. This is what's been going on," without diving into everything, because it doesn't matter. And he said, "John, there's something you're going to have to learn. You're going to be punished your entire career for being good. And your choice now is to either accept it or not." By the way, that chief was awesome. That I take nothing away from that chief. He was a really great chief, but sometimes he would lay it out like that, as like, "Hey, life sucks, get a raincoat," kind of thing, right? And yeah, it's just, and I always hated that, because, we're supposed to be in the military. It's not a communist organization, but it is one that's supposed to be based on rank and position and so forth. If there are 5 people doing the job, theoretically, doesn't that mean that I'm doing 1/5 of the work? That's just not the way it is. And at some point, thanks to your guidance on this one, I got over that. When I went to Andrews, at one point at Andrews, here's another good one for you. Tell me how you would have handled this one.
Okay.
I played all the sports, right? Like I was on the football team. I did all this. Well, you remember Commander's Trophy was a big deal back then. Well, I was on the football team. Well, here's the deal. They didn't have enough computers in the office, so I was working 11 to 7.
Okay.
Well, I would show up to work at noon. Why? Because I went to the gym first, which was authorized. Then I'd eat my food, and then I would do my work. Then, because football practice was at 5 and the chow opened at 3:30, I had to eat and the chow would be closed after football practice was done. I had to go at 3:30. Basically, I was working from 12 to 3:30. That's it. Now, the deal was this. If I had work to do, you come back to work and you do it. If there isn't work to do, whatever, right?
Right.
I did that for 3.5 months. And then one of the airmen was out at the dorms. And I was at the basketball court in between the dorms playing basketball. And somebody's like, and I heard the whole story from them. That's why I know this part. They're like, "Isn't that slow? Isn't he supposed to be at work right now until 7 o'clock?" Well, that got broadcasted out, right? Well, next day I go to work and my supervisor's like, "We got to talk in the back room." Okay. So we go talk and sitting. Did his phone die? Well, I will continue to tell the story for the rest of you. And if he comes back, that's awesome. If not, I'll still tell it for the rest of you. I'm in the back room. And there's this other airman there, and we didn't get along. I outranked her, but another airman there, and she's sitting there. The supervisor didn't even have the balls to really tell me what's up. It was this other airman who complained. Basically, "You're not working full days. You agreed to work 11 to 7, and you're supposed to do that." Blah blah blah. I'm like, Sergeant Fuller knew that might be what happened. Hopefully, he comes back. Like him and technology, as he told you before, can be a little funny, but it's great talking with him. I really, really, really do hope he comes back. But he also has a life to live as well. So, I'm back room. They're like, "You're supposed to be working 11 to 7, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "Sergeant Fuller, no, every moment that I left early. There he is. I always.
I don't know
There we go.
what happened there.
That's
Can you
fine.
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. But anyway, they wanted to snitch on you.
Yeah, so they snitched on me. So I get to work the next day, and Sergeant Fuller takes me into the back office, what used to be the not photo lab, but the photo repair shop or whatever it was. And Christina was there. I'm like, why the hell is she here? Like, okay, whatever. And Christina starts berating me. She's another senior airman who, by the way, I outranked, but she's another senior airman, starts berating me about how I'm supposed to be working from 11 to 7, and I've been lying and scamming time. And I looked right over at Sergeant Fuller and said, Sergeant Fuller knew every single time I left early. I made sure she knew. I left her notes as to why I didn't come back to work. I told because there were no work orders there, or that work order I can't start right now because of whatever reason. I need to contact the customer in the morning, whatever it happened to be. Well, that's not fair. You're doing this. You're doing that. I'm like, she's like, I can't just go to the BX when I want to. And I'm thinking, why not? Like, as long as the work's done, why can't you go to the BX and come back? I don't personally see a problem with that. But you know that the Air Force then did frown on that stuff, right? Like, you're supposed to be at work. You can do that on your lunchtime. At least that's the way it was at every base I was at.
No, I never believed in that. I never believed in that. I believed in letting people do what they needed to do, because how can you do your job worrying about this other stuff? As long as you could get the work done and you make it up, I really didn't care. I really didn't care.
And to be honest, in Korea, we didn't have a big deal with that because we all got along so well. We kind of like, hey, do you need something from the BX? Or, hey, I'm going to the Class 6, right?
Right. I'm going here, going there. Do you need anything?
Yeah.
And as long as the work flowed, that was just fine. If you needed a day for personal time, no, you didn't have to take leave or do nothing like that. You just go and come back. You know what I'm saying? But that was my philosophy. But you had people like that.
Yep.
It just felt like, well, if I can't do it, you can't do it. And it's like, that's childish. But yeah, it was that control, that unnecessary control that they felt they had to have, that just made no sense. I'm gonna give you a good example of that. Okay, we had this chief master sergeant come down and lay down the law from the commander of what do you call it, combat camera and all that stuff, over in Frankfurt, Germany. And he came in and said, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to give 24-hour turnaround on every work order that comes in. It's going to be done. Yeah. And he said 24 hours. That's you got every work order that comes in here is going to be done within 24 hours. And I said, hey, John, what do you think I said?
I can't think of the exact words, but something like this. You're out of your fucking mind.
No, I said that in my mind, but out of my mouth came, okay. Right? Does that sound like me? Okay.
You know, yes, it does.
Okay. Now I'm thinking that's impossible. That's not even realistic. And like you said, you're out of your fucking mind, right? Okay. Now, so what I told everybody was this. Okay. We have always provided excellent customer service. So if somebody comes in here and they say, we need this done in 24 hours, then we will try our best to do it. But if we ask that customer when he need it done, and he says a week from now, 2 days from now, then that's what we're going to do. Okay. So that's what we did. There was a few people who needed something right away or whatever. And we had, you always
had those expedited work orders.
Right. Yeah. Which was fine. It was just business as usual for me. Well, this other guy at the other base, nearby base, he was getting reamed out by this chief, man. It's like, and he calls me, he says, James, are you, nobody called me Sergeant Chambers. They called me James. James, are you doing 24-hour turnaround? I said, I'm doing better than that. He said, what? I said, yeah, man. I say, sometimes we have a 30-minute turnaround. Sometimes we have an hour turnaround. Sometimes we have this.
Did you put the work order in the same day? Did you finish it?
Yeah, it's like you know what I'm saying. If they want thermofax or you know what I'm saying, they want some letters typed. That's less than 24 hours. And so he didn't understand what was going on. So the chief came and he asked me. He said, "Sergeant Chambers, are you giving 24-hour turnaround?" I said, "Yes, I am." I said, "I'm doing better than that, Chief." I said, "I give 30-minute turnaround, 15-minute turnaround. It's like an hour, 2 hours. It's like whatever they want." But I said, "Chief, I'll be damned if a man come in here and say he don't want it done until next week if I'm going to stay in all night and do it." He said, "Chambers, you got a point." You see? Even though he was a asshole, he couldn't argue with that reasoning. And that other guy was killing himself, making everybody miserable, trying to give these 24-hour turnarounds. That's about playing the game. It's like you have to be smarter than these idiots. The chief didn't even realize what he was saying, but once I explained that to him, that I was even doing better than that, he was satisfied, and he never said anything to me again. But he read that guy top to bottom, and he never could figure it out. But this guy outranked me. You know what I'm saying? He was like, a senior master sergeant, E8.
Really?
Here I am
Doing work?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, doing well, I shouldn't say he was doing work, but he was making his airmen work and killing them. And he just couldn't figure out how I always got an excellent rating, from the chief. And he got unsatisfactory because he wasn't given 24-hour turnaround. But there you go.
Play the system. You can. You reminded me of another story, but to finish up the one. So through the conversation with her, I finally said, "Hey, look, go get the work order log." We kept those work order logs, right? Mm-hmm. And so we had to write down all our time, and we had 2-person monitoring on ours. So you couldn't scam time like, "Oh, I'm going to say this took me 5 hours to do when it took you a half hour." Like we had 2-person monitoring when it came to that. The only thing we could add on there was a half hour for intake and a half hour for the customer pickup because you were usually explaining it to them. But other than that, your times had to be accurate.
Wow.
So anyway, to get the work order log. And I knew that I'd done more work than anybody else because when I'm left to my own devices, they actually said this for my VTC stuff. Like if John's on his own island, that dude can get a lot of stuff done. It's when you're standing over his shoulder that he doesn't do the work well, right? Well, So I knew I'd done more than them, but I didn't know how much it was. They went through the work order log, found out I had done more work in terms of work order and time. And it wasn't just picking the easy work orders because sometimes Sergeant Fuller would write the name on there, "John, this is yours." Didn't matter. I had more work done than all of the rest of the shop combined, working 3.5 hours a day for about 3.5 months. And you know what they said? Fucking bad. You're going to be working 7:15 to 4 like everybody else now.
That's terrible. It's terrible.
Because Christina cried.
Yeah, it's terrible. And man, that had always been my philosophy. Let people do what they can do. If you can do that, do it. If you can't, then I'm not going to knock you, but it's like you're going to have to put in a little more time to get your stuff done. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way it is. Why am I going to knock you because you're an overachiever?
Oh, you should have heard the words that I was saying to him when he's like, "Well, we're going to work late to get this wolf head done." I'm like, "What?"
Hey, but you think about it. That was a learning experience for both of us, man. And we learned, first of all, we didn't even know we could do it, if we could do it or not, if it was going to.
You had a great idea, that projector blowing up, and I never would have thought about that. So, hey, Patrick Parler, good to see you.
Yeah, we blew it up, and then we painted it from the back.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And it was like, multicolored. And it came out excellent, man. We did an excellent job.
The thing is you told them multiple times, number one, this should be metal, see sign shop. Or two, the plexiglass was only 1/4 of an inch. You got to go at least a 1/2 inch for that stuff. I remember you telling them, or at least talking about it. I don't know if you told them directly, but I'm sure you did if you told me.
Yeah.
And they did this 1/4 inch plexiglass, and I don't think that thing lasted a week.
No, man, that thing, it's like the wind would catch it and it cracked. It would crack from the where they bolted it in. But like I said, I wasn't of enough rank to be effective in their mind. I couldn't know as much as them because they outranked me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a colonel.
Right.
I'm a colonel. You're just a sergeant. You can't know more than me. I'm not gonna let you. And it's like, hey, did I ever say that to you about the computer? No. Why?
Nope.
Because that's stupid. How am I going to tell you I know more about a computer and I hadn't even touched the computer?
You must have actually deflected even more than I thought, because to be honest, the primary reason I got out of the Air Force, there's actually 1,000 reasons why I got out. But I have a primary reason as to why I got out. I was sick and tired of people wanting shit for the sake of wanting. So on Andrews, they used to say this crap all the time. It's the president's base. No, the dude just lands here and drives off. It's not the president's base. Stop it. But it's president's base, and they want to put their thumbprint on everything. Yeah. And that leads me to an awesome story that you're going to appreciate. Imagine this. You're in the office, and one day this new master sergeant comes in, and he used to work for WACA, White House Communications Agency, for folks out there. He comes in, and he's the new master sergeant. He's going to be taking over. And day one, he says this, everything, and he meant that literally. Everything we do from now on must be done in Photoshop. We do slides, dude. I want slides done in Photoshop, too.
Yeah. Now, how stupid is that?
And you know what? We got so to the point where we didn't listen to anything he ever said. He basically moved on.
Yeah.
They made it seem like it was his deal, and none of us got a talking to or in trouble or anything. It's just like we were all like, this dude's nuts, and we're not going to listen to him. So you guys figure it out. And honestly, it worked. I don't know if it should have, but you can't come in there and just have these. I'm going to do it. Whatever. Hold on. I can do it from here.
Whatever. I do what I want.
Whatever. I do what I want.
Yeah. I do what I want.
You can't do that. And you have to see how the organization works. And that is actually the prime. Again, there are many other things going on. I wouldn't even say that was 50%. But if I put it on one thing, I was so sick and tired of people wanting shit for the sake of wanting and not having any sort of common sense because they wanted an EPR bullet or wanted to look good or just wanted it their way, that I was like, F this, I'm out.
Yeah. They open their mouth and remove all doubt that they're idiots.
Oh my God, I forgot about that saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Open your mouth and remove all doubt.
Yeah.
It's like, we thought you were an idiot, but you just proved it by opening your mouth. Yeah.
That takes me back to my Air Force time. A Nerd's Nerd up here said with where is it? Oh, it goes kind of far back. She had a comment. By the way, she's a Marine, retired, former, ex. I don't know what the Marines call themselves, but I can't find it anymore because other people have chatted. Anyway, she said something like, well, she missed promotion twice because of 2 NJP. So, there it is right there. That's nothing. I missed E4 by a single freaking NJP. NJP, for the folks out there who don't know, that's Article 15 in Air Force terms. So that's fine. I missed E4 by a single. That means she was one short. She was one short of getting.
Wow. Wow, man. I tell you. And well, all that stuff goes into play. That was the way they played their games with the Article 15s, the letter of reprimand, the low ratings, you know what I'm saying, to keep you in check and keep you under, you know what I'm saying, to hold you down. But when it all settles, it's like, hey, man, you're going to give above all of that because you're that type of person. It's your fate, your being, you're smarter than that. It's like, hey, just because you say I'm not smart doesn't make me an idiot. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just recognize as you're talking here, I'm trying to think of things like that relate to now that you kind of taught me back then, other than the fact that you stuck your neck out for me. But no, like even the fact of you talking, like I call it the warm button of chair syndrome. I've worked for a couple of some of my favorite bosses. I've got Sergeant Don Diano, and I've got a guy named Randall Bruley, who's when I worked for Rad Vision, and you all had the same philosophy. worded differently, but same thing. John, if there's 20 hours of work to do, I expect you to be there to get 20 hours of work done. But I'm not going to ask you where you are on Friday when you're spending time with your family, because you're not just a warm butt in a chair.
No.
And I absolutely love this. Why I hate working for certain organizations like DISA, Defense Information Systems Agency, because there's such clock watchers out there, and I don't believe in clock watching. I believe we got a job to do, we got a mission to get done, let's get it done. And if I have to stay late, I have to stay late. I don't care. None of that ever bothers me. But don't keep me here because I have to be a warm butt in a chair.
Well, ever since the day I became a supervisor, I had this thing about, okay, if you have a family or you have a problem, you cannot give 100% to your job. So it's like this. If you got something you got to take care of with your family, or your or something is going wrong in your life, I want you to take care of that. But remember, I gave you the time to take care of that. Now you're going to have to come in here and you're going to have to work extra, because I gave you that time, and I put a burden on other people, and they carried your weight, and you're going to have to do the same when they need it. And man, that philosophy, you wouldn't believe it. They would ask me, it's like, Sergeant Chambers, how do you get these people to cooperate with you? And how do you get them to just put in all this overtime and do all this stuff? I said, because I do it for them. It's like, hey, it's like if they need something, they know that it's not even going to be a no answer. It's going to be a yes. But you're going to have to do the same for the next guy.
Right.
And yeah, you're not going to complain when this guy who you say, I don't like him, when he needs a day off, you're not going to be sitting there saying, oh, man, you let so-and-so have a day off. No, you're going to shut your mouth. You're going to pull his weight, and you're going to do it. And man, it's like nobody took advantage of it.
That's the odd part, because in my experience, both as a supervisor in the military and as civilians when I was on Ramstein, is there's always somebody. I used to tell people, look, I know I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, don't care, but I play favorites. And I'll be right up front with you, I play favorites. But here's what I mean by that. If you're the person that sits there and like, why do I have to work late? Why do I have to do this? Then no. When you want to go somewhere for an hour to have a long lunch or whatever, I'm going to tell you no. But if you're the guy that I can say, crap, we got something to do on Saturday. Hey, you know what? I can make that. I'll be there. Then boom, I don't care. As long as the phones are answered between this time and this time, nothing else matters to me. And absolutely, if that's going to be you, I'm going to play favorites. Don't give a crap whatsoever what anybody thinks about that. And part of that is like what you said. Take care of your crap so you can come back and do the job.
Right. And they put in extra, man. You know what I'm saying? Never had anybody complain about having to come in or do anything, because they knew I was going to, take care of it. I'm gonna make sure you get that time back.
Yes, exactly.
And for those people who sat there and done that, why do I have to do it? Why do I have to do it? I never gave them the opportunity to capitalize on that, because they got benefits too. So once they dip their hands into that opportunity to take care of this stuff, it's like when they started, oh no, you shut your mouth. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
I can vouch that those are words he would use, by the way, because I heard him say that.
Yeah, shut your mouth. It's like, I don't want to hear that. It's like you took advantage of it. And no, if you don't get out my face, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and then they have to realize, it's like, well, I can't do that anymore, because, hey, why did so-and-so, why did I get a chance to do it? Why did you get a chance to go and take care of your stuff? And like I said, nobody really ever took advantage of it that I knew of, So
they laugh at me here because, especially during COVID, but every now and again, we're allowed to telework, right? So when we telework, I don't care what it is. I don't care if I get a random email from you. If it sounds business oriented, I respond back and I copy my supervisor at least one email or something, because I'm like, I'm going to make sure they know that I was on. Look, I answered this within 5 minutes. I'm on top of it. Like, I'm not taking advantage of teleworking. And people give me crap all the time. Like, man, I was outside my backyard getting some yard work done. I'm like, this whole teleworking thing is actually I can get more work done at home, and I don't want it taken away from me. So yeah, because you're giving me this ability to do this, I'm going to find ways. I'll make up work if I have to. I want to show you that I'm productive, so I can keep doing this. And you all motherfuckers are ruining it for me by
Yeah, because you're taking advantage of it, man. It's like, nah. But
Couple of comments for you, by the way, on the Rumble side. You can't. I don't know if you can even see the YouTube chat, but on the Rumble side, Patty's Parlor over there. By the way, Patty, it's a really good to see you. He says, "Thanks for your service, James, and thanks for doing the stream." Absolutely, this has been probably the funnest stream I've done in a long time. And I told everybody beforehand that once James comes on here, everybody else is gone, and this is what it's going to be until he wants to go, because I knew that this was going to be a great time. And then he says, "I wish I had more leaders like you, James." Absolutely.
Yeah, that's it, man. But it's all getting rid of the dumb stuff. It's like it's about being human. It's like, man, I never sought any thing above anybody. I just wanted to have a good time and get the job done. I know I had a job to do, but I just didn't see why I had to be some tyrant or some butthole. It's like, I like to laugh. I like to have a good time, and I know when to be serious and when not to be. And
Two-seater jets.
Yeah, and that was the thing I always told you guys. It's like, hey, man, you always got to know when to separate friendship and work and stuff like that. You have to keep it in perspective. Never lose perspective of what the mission is. And you never did that. We could be friends or whatever, but when it came to that military thing and we had to take orders and we had to do stuff, we'd hop too. All the fun game was over.
And no matter how much fun we would have, going to the chow hall, no matter how much fun we'd have on those Fridays, getting the door locked on us. Sergeant Chambers was my supervisor, and when he supervised, I airmaned. That's just the way it was.
But I never lorded over you. And like I said, I had a lot of people give me a guff about not being called Sergeant Chambers.
I know. That's hard for me, because honestly, I'm one of those people. I honestly don't think about it when I talk about you at Sergeant Chambers, because that's where we had that I guess that bonding, right? And I have difficulty with change. I also still see it as a term of respect for you and Sergeant Don Diana, who I still see it as a term of respect. And I know you prefer to be called James, and I'm trying the best I can.
That's fine.
But for me,
I understand that. But I'm just saying, it was never a requirement. It is something that I earned. I earned that from you. Yeah, you want to call me Sergeant Chambers, then that's fine. But I tried to put myself on the same level. I just had a different responsibility. I had more responsibility than you, and they were gonna get me before they got to you, and I was never wanting them to get to you. So
and that's another thing right there. So when I had airmen, when I was an NCO and I finally had airmen, I'd always have that sit down conversation with them. And I don't remember it verbatim, but I know that certain things I told them. One of them was, I've got your back. Please don't test me on this, but I've got your back. With the caveat of this: if you do something that you know is going to get me in trouble as well, I will feed you to the wolves. But what that means is I've already talked to you about it, or you already know, because it's just common decency, But if you do something dumb, I did a bunch of dumb things. And you know what? If there's one thing I can say about people who get in trouble in the military, they tend to learn from that, and they can one, spot it a mile away, and two, they know what it's like to be in that position. So I got your back as long as you don't throw me under the bus. And I did. And I learned that from you. Again, you sticking your head, you joke about the chicken heads every now and again, but you sticking your head out for me on multiple occasions, but particularly that one, is something that will go with me to my grave. Is like, hey, sometimes as a leader, as a supervisor, you put me in this position, but I got to show you. I know I'm about to lose half my asshole here, but here we go,
Yeah.
But you better learn from that, because if you don't, then
it's like, I won't be doing it again. Yeah,
right? Because I won't have another asshole feeding through. Sure.
Probably wouldn't have another opportunity. You know how that goes. It's like, hey, but it's all about people, man. Treat people like you want to be treated. You know what I'm saying? Be honest. That was another thing I always felt, man. It's like, I didn't like lying because I couldn't remember. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't good at it. It showed on my face, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so, hey, I didn't offer all the information all the time, but it's like, hey, I wasn't about all that line. I had to have that trust, you know.
You never
If
treated
I
us.
said-
I remember you never treated us as the whole. I don't have to tell you why. I just do it. I know you and I got into a couple of
no.
arguments over that, but it wasn't
Mhm.
because of what you were telling us to do. I remember one of them specifically is I just thought it was a stupid concept, and you're like, no, that come on, Shlo, that's just not the way it's always going to work. Sometimes people are going to have to just say you got to get it done, and you don't have to know why. And I'm like, nope. If you don't tell me why, it doesn't need to get done. You know, and I'm still kind of like that. But the idea being is you never. I can't think of a time when you ever did that to us. As in, like, I don't have to tell you.
What I told you, you know, you might not remember this, but what I told you is there's sometimes that I need you to just go ahead and do it, and I'll explain it to you later.
Right.
And it's like, and I would do that. I say, I'm gonna have to explain that to you later, but I need you to do what I'm asking you to do, because you know it needs to get done. And then once I explained it to you, you was like, oh. Okay, but I couldn't do it at that time because it was a time-sensitive thing. But if I had time to explain it, I always explain. I never had a problem explaining why I made a decision or why we were doing something, because I wanted to know. And I think that you really respected that too, because you always said that. Why are we doing this?
Yeah, I'm a why person. I've always been my entire life. But my parents, growing up, my parents would say, because I told you to, I would actually take punishment over doing that work. Like I knew with my stepdad or whatever, because if you can't tell me what it is, it's obviously not important. You know?
And I always would tell you too, you're doing this for me. You're doing this for me. Do you remember that?
And it made me feel guilty too, asshole.
yeah, of course. But you were, because if it didn't get done, then it was going to be me.
Right. And you know that whole thing where it's like when people, by the way, there's some really good comments going on over there on Rumble. I will get to those in a moment. You know, there's that thing. It's like, well, I don't do this for me. I do this for the team, and there's all this other stuff. I'm not going to say I really ever felt like that, because it's just not my nature. But with that said, I didn't want to, you know, especially once we had a quick turnaround from this is what I do to, oh hell no you don't, to hey now productive airman and respected NCO. It was a pretty quick turnaround, but it did take a moment. But ever since that time happened, when that respect definitely was there. Yeah, I trust you, and I didn't want you to get in trouble, because I always thought of like, look, if I burn this bridge, and this has kind of been me my entire life as well. He's done me no wrong. I don't want to burn this bridge. If he was somebody I didn't know, or somebody treated me like crap or whatever, I don't care at all. Be me as all mad you want. Write me up all you want, like at Kirtland. But no, you did the good things, and it's almost like, you know, I'm not angry with you. I'm disappointed, right? I didn't want that. Like I didn't want any of that.
Yeah. I know. And you never let me down. But John, one thing you forget too, not just me. It's like the whole photo lab, all the other people we came in contact would come in and not just talk to me, they would talk to you too. And then if there was something that, you know, you felt that I needed to talk to them about, it's like, well, Sergeant Chamberlain explained it better than me why you should, you know, be on time, or especially with McCarran. McCarran talked to you and you tried to get him on the right track, but that's when you turn him over to me. But
when we were forced to become roommates, things went south between him and I.
Yeah.
You should not be roommates with somebody you work with.
Yeah. And I can understand that.
We definitely had we'll just say we had different views on life.
Well, McCarran had mental issues.
Well, you had to deal with him at Langley, didn't you?
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
He had mental health issues, you know, and I don't know if you remember. It's like he was going through some. He should have been seeing a therapist, really.
Yeah, but back then, you know, that would have been a career killer.
It was frowned upon. Yes, but that's why he got along with me so well, is because I would sit there and listen to what he was saying, and I was like, where is that coming from? Well, you know, this and that and other thing happened, and I'm like, dude, look at here. You know what? You kind of damaged. You know, you kind of just say, you know, the world don't work like that. And you know, he felt like he was just such a goody two shoes, and you was just such a prodigy, and you know, because I really did put a lot of responsibility on you because you could handle it and you wanted it. You didn't want to be told what to do all the time. You just did. You know, you just took stuff and did it. You know.
I didn't recognize it at that time, but I honestly, I work best under the pressure of this. Slow, this needs to get done.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to do it. Well, you've got a week. Well, crap. Now, the more you tell me, the more I push back. The more you tell, but if it's just like, this has got to get done, and I have no clue how to do it, or maybe go start that book over there will get you started. I hate it. I'm not going to lie. I hate it, but I somehow work better in that environment. And because you didn't direct me, like my first base they basically, this is how you're going to do the work. This is when you're going to do it. This is how you're going to stand up. This is how you're going to sit down. This is how, you know what I'm saying? Like all that. I don't do well. That's why I could never have been a Marine. Fuck that Marine stuff, being told what to do constantly all the time. But when you're like,
well, that's a different job, John. Yeah. That's a different job. They have to do that because if they don't do it a certain way, people get killed.
Right.
You're saying, you know,
but I couldn't do it. My personality would not allow that.
Yeah, and that's why we didn't go into the Marines or the Navy or the Army. But yeah, there's certain jobs. That's just like when you do that crypto. You have to put the card in a certain way or it's not going to work. So they have a lot of jobs like that.
Sergeant Chambers, one time you have to burn the tape for the crypto. He does it inside the building and burns the fuck out of his hand.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not going outside because Korea can get really cold in the wintertime. Yeah. So he's like, he tried spinning me some bullshit. I love when you did stuff like this. I can't go outside. The fire won't start. It's so cold out there. I'm like, what? Right. he's like, I can't go. So he does it inside the building. He's like, can you put some duct tape? Now he was joking when he said this, but it's just, he's like, can you put some duct tape over that fire alarm? I don't want it to go off on me. I'm like, what? Right. Yeah. He's like, I'm going to burn this over here in this corner because it's cold out there.
Yeah, I'm not going out there. Man, think outside the box, man. I'm the first one to admit I've done some crazy stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? But, I got a sense of humor and a imagination that's out of this world. I have the most vivid imagination, ever, and still do. It's like, man, I still do stuff, and they'd be like, dude, and it's so funny.
Do you remember escorting me to the first sergeant's office for a conversation? Remember when, so I used to play the role-playing games, right? With a couple groups out there.
The Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that.
Yeah, but this was the vampire game. Remember when I made that CD? And I if you don't remember, that's fine. But I made that CD and had all these song lyrics in it. But because I was playing a character that was supposed to be a shock rocker, some sort of like evil satanic Ozzy Osbourne type thing, And I wrote those lyrics, and they called not mental health. They called the first sergeant, and you had to escort me there. And you're like, Slow, what the fuck?
What's going on now, man? I was doing something. Yeah.
But I showed you, and you read it, and you're like, this is just silly. Who cares?
Right. Well, these were people that were next door to you or something, right? They heard you playing the recording.
It was the actual group that I was playing with, and Todd, I forget his last name, but he went by Gantor. He was a big, like 6'6" whatever guy, and he's like, he would look at me. Anybody who can even think of something like this to write like that has got mental problems. Like he's all going off on me. I'm only 5'9", right? So he's like 6'6", and he's freaking the hell out. And I don't know if he was the one that called, but somebody called, and and you had to escort me over the first sergeant. The first sergeant looked at that and was like, did you do this on government paper? I said, but look, this government papers. Remember they had all those expired government paper that we did our testing. I was like, but look, it's the expired paper. He's like, okay. He's like, you're just playing a dumb game. Are you going to kill yourself? No. Are you going to kill somebody else? No. You're going to jump off a cliff? Are you going to get drunk and get me to pick you up in the jail? No. Get out of here.
Yeah. Man, but that's the way people are, man. They make something out of nothing, and it's like somebody's got to have the level head and say, okay, wait a minute, let me take a look at this. Okay, this is John. John did this. Yeah. Okay. Well, I understand now. It's like, but then again, there's things that's out of your character. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you just got to know how to read people. It's like some people just always jumping the gun. If I think you're crazy, I'll ask you, Johnny, you crazy? You're probably
that's exactly the tone of voice he would use to like
yeah, you know, I need to know. You know, because if you are, you know, I really need to do something about it. Or you know,
you work next to me. I don't want to. If you're crazy, you tell me now, so I know not to be here when you go crazy.
Just be honest. You know, I can take it. It's like
when you go postal, can I at least hold the weapons for you?
Yeah, right. You know, man, please. I don't know. I'm like that. I'll ask the question. You know, it's like, hey, man. It's like, Is that you smelling like that? You know, I will. You know,
the funniest comment you said, and I know this is mean, but it's still the funniest comment you said that stuck with me. He's like, "Yeah, he was supposed to take his mid-tour leave, and he's not doing it because he said his wife told him no, just it's okay to stay over there." And your comment was, "Well, yeah, of course she told him to stay over here. She finally got some fresh air."
Yeah, Taylor. Yeah.
I was like, dude.
Yeah, she don't want him to come back. Come on, I understand it. It's like, yeah, but
it's in my eye. I'm sorry, like just some of those just reactions. What the fuck just happened?
Well, it's just like a friend of mine, man. He didn't get this conversation. You know, it was three of us sitting in the room. You know, three friends, and the fourth friend walks in. And he says, "Yeah, man, my wife is pregnant." And the other friend says, "Man, we're gonna find out who did that, and we're gonna whoop his ass." And we burst out laughing, man. It was hilarious. He didn't get it. He said, "Man, I did it." And it was like he just didn't get it. You know, the guy was saying, "We're gonna find out who did that to her, and we're gonna whoop his
ass." That is a good one. I like that. So when I was on honor guard in it's at Kirtland. It was actually before I met you. Mm-hmm. I've never understood this one to this day. I get it. I know the Air Force, the military in a whole is supposed to be, prim and proper, do the right thing. I know what adultery is, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But one of the guys that I was with, he was a staff sergeant. He just got a line number for tech. Mm-hmm. And then he got busted sleeping with an officer's wife. But here's the story, though. They met off base. He had no clue she was an officer's wife. She didn't act. She didn't promote. He didn't do anything that would get him to officers' wives, right? Mm-hmm. But the officer found out. Mm-hmm. They busted him down to senior airman before he could pin on tech sergeant. Of course, he got out, and he got out all disgruntled. And I'm just like, now that's some BS, man. Like I can get it. If he was one of those, players, so to speak, where he's like, yeah, this officer's wife like me. Okay, then you know what? You make your bed, you lie in it. But when you're just minding your own business, and this is downtown in the city, this isn't on base or anything like that, and she doesn't tell you, how the hell are you supposed to know? This is before Facebook and whatever else. Like this is just you meet somebody, right? Man, I could never believe that one.
Well, you know how that happened, John? Lack of knowledge. He didn't know he could get him a civilian lawyer. He didn't know he could go through a court martial. They just kept it in house.
Yeah.
You see? They kept it in house. And he figured he had to go with that because that's what they said. See, that's the
deception. So it was lack of knowledge.
Well, you know me. I had before I met you, I had a lot of experience with the area defense councils. The area defense council. She was hot too on Kirtland. We were. I wouldn't say on a first name basis because she was an officer, but we were friendly with each other because she saw me so often there. God, I can't believe the nonsense I did. As my first duty station. What's this? How do I say that? Roy Rat Live over on Rumble. A lot of comments here. I am reading them, folks. By the way, I am reading them. Just having a good conversation here. So, as far as things like the privacy, like we're just talking about somebody we know. I'm sure Sergeant Chambers wasn't in his medical records to know everything that was on there. No. These are just experiences that we had. This is also how we talk about stuff back then. It's like, oh my God, you're retarded. Or dude, you got mental issues. Like I had a friend of mine who he was a chubby chaser, and let's just say he had some problems. No, let me use my other one, Mike. Won't say his name beyond that, but I actually played role-playing games with him at the mental hospital because he had vampirism.
Oh,
What? Yeah, he used to take his sword and cut himself and drink his own blood.
wow.
Yeah, and it's like,
That's
okay,
great.
you know, it's just, dude had mental issues, right? But he stayed. He
Yeah.
did his time in the Air Force. like, maybe you shouldn't have swords. How about that? I'm just,
Yeah. Yeah. How about we take anything sharp away from you?
yeah, right. But you know what? Had some of the best one-on-one role-playing sessions with that. But yeah, did a lot of role-playing when I was in the Air Force in the 90s. So that hopefully that he was talking about, he had a bad E6 squad leader, kind of bad NCO in general. They're downright abusive, too much airborne
Yeah.
hoo-ah garbage back then.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
But John, my son just called me, and I don't know if it's what's going on. He called me too often, so I'm gonna have to jump
you
off.
spent a bunch of time here. I have been. This is the happiest I've been in a long time. Thank you very much.
I was scared to do it at first. I now that I've done it, I know it ain't nothing scary about it.
It's funny. It's like the
I
job
figured
we used to do back in the day, right?
yeah. I figured it wasn't a whole bunch of hoops I had to go through and put my credit card in and do none of that. So,
Dang it! I didn't get the money from you. Your bank account.
I'm like, man, it's like this is gonna be all this stuff. I gotta download an app and go here and do that. I just pushed the thing and I was right there. So yeah.
Well,
cool.
the folks on both sides, YouTube and Rumble, are thanking you for your time. I can't thank you enough. I'm going to contact you again at some point here. I love talking with you, and I'm glad we could get that out for some of the public to see, even if it'll be private after today's live stream. But I appreciate you, man. Thank you,
right.
thank you very much. Not only for this, but thank you for everything you've done that's influenced me to this day. I really do appreciate that.
Yeah, I thank you too, John. I thank you for all you've done for me. You've done a lot for me as well. All right.
Well, I'm glad you have a great day, and thanks again.
Okay. Bye-bye.